Does it seem like a never-ending battle when it comes to toys? It seems that this battle is for all children. So join us as we give you some tips and tricks on how to conquer this ongoing battle.
Hello and welcome to the My Spectrum Life podcast. My name is Jessica and I'm an autism mom. And with me is my good friend Kelsey.
Hello, my name is Kelsey, and I am a SPED teacher. I am so looking forward about tonight's topic.
I know it's actually one that's crazy and kind of fun. And yeah, I'm going to be looking off a little bit. That's my hubby that just ran down. We ordered our pizza a while ago, and 2 hours ago. And they just showed up to deliver it. So it's one of those awesome Mondays. So I know that you guys are okay with that because, hey, it is what it is. It's 2020.
Exactly.
Right?
It is. It's 2020.
It's 2020. There's nothing we can say or do about it. So the battle of the toys. Okay. So I'm going to look over here and I'm going to click this fancy dancy little thing. Ha ha, look at that. So we got a question from a reader. A viewer, not a reader, a viewer. And I was like, yes, a question. I love this.
We were ecstatic.
Yes, we are. We absolutely love questions from our leader. Viewers. Sorry. So she asks, when I first got custody of my bonus daughter, who's diagnosed with autism, she would play with inappropriate toys, shoes on her hands, socks on her hands, piece of plastic on her hands, just weird things. We got her off that and finally got her interested in actual toys. Now that we have a baby, we have a bunch of baby toys and she loves them way more than toys her age. She's way more engaged with them. My question is, should I let her play with them or should I not allow it and continue to encourage her to play with hers? That is an amazing question.
It's a jam-packed question. There's a lot to break down.
Yes, it is. Okay, so when we were thinking about it, the first thing that we thought about was to remember the saying. You're always saying this, Kelsey.
Yep, behavior is communication. Behavior is communication. So the behavior is always trying to communicate something with you. And we came together and we kind of came up with different questions just to kind of take a look at it to observe. Maybe she's trying to tell you something. Is there a reason for playing with the toys? Is there other than her being her siblings' toys?
Is there a fine motor skills that need to be developed that she can't quite get from the baby? She can do it with the baby toys, but not necessarily with the older toys.
Right.
Some of those snaps and stuff. I know, just thinking off the cuff here, there was a toy that we had that my sister and I had. I don't know if I had one, but my sister had one. And then I had my mom make one it's the old Dressy Bessie. Remember those in Dapper Dan?
Mm-hmm.
It was a toy that had snaps and buttons and tie and zipper and all that on it, so the child could learn how to do that. And it was so helpful. So maybe that's actually, even though it's a little kid's toy, it's actually very helpful for a lot of ages.
Right.
When you come to think of it. So that could be an issue. The next thing is she's still getting adjusted to the baby.
Right.
And it takes a long time for
anybody.
Yes. Not just that, but also for any type of change. With autism, it almost seems like sometimes you need to multiply it by 100. Um, you know, some days that's what I think it feels like.
Right. And they adjust more slowly than others as well because they're not only trying to figure out how they fit in their world and because they're already trying to make sense of the world that they have going on now.
Right.
And then you throw a baby in the mix who is not on a routine. It takes a lot of mommy's, daddy's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, what about me? How's this? Am I getting? And you probably she probably does have a lot of questions,
Mm-hmm.
going on. Like, wait, what about me? What mm, how does this
Yeah.
work?
Yeah. And,
Like, how does this work?
and even the different stages,
Right.
because, at first it was a baby that needed to be held. And then even if the child's like a year old, well, then they
Mhm.
start walking.
Yep.
Okay. So how come they're falling all the time?
Right.
And so my my two older ones, so there's a 5-year gap between Curtis and my oldest bonus son. I love how you put that, bonus child. Um, I have two bonus sons.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and so there's 7 years between the oldest and Curtis, and 5 years between Sam and Curtis. And so, it wasn't as different, but there was a lot of things when Curtis was diagnosed with autism. Derek had quite a long time with him in the car, so I let him have some time to talk about all of those different changes and different things to expect
Right.
on the drive up and back. So, it may need to be some breakdown kind of like that. The next
Right.
thing we had was is she trying to communicate with the baby?
Right. How often? I mean, she's maybe mimicking what we see because we play with baby toys with the baby, but we know how the baby toys operate. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe she's trying to figure out the toy so she can, oh, mommy allows them to play with this when she cries. Let me try to help. So she might be just trying to figure out how to be the bigger sister. And she's
Mm-hmm.
just like, ooh, let me figure out how this works first. And she
Mm-hmm.
might just be interested in it, but
True.
you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Never
And then
know.
there's also the question of stimulation. Is she
Correct.
being stimulated?
Right.
And that you were talking about how to kind of gauge, kind of know some different things about the stimulation, with like the lights and the
Mm-hmm.
sounds,
Mm-hmm.
to like figure out which ones kind of
That she's
observe.
gravitating towards. Is she gravitating towards a certain color that she wants to see? So maybe she's telling you that it's her favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
Is she gravitating towards a certain sound?
Right.
Or is it both? What is she gravitating towards specifically about that toy, which will ultimately let you know that I need more of this. And you can find
Mm-hmm.
those in age appropriate toys.
Oh yeah.
Not just the little
Mm-hmm.
ones. You can know you could do Simon Says with the little light up toys if she likes the light up.
Yeah.
So now you're doing memory.
Mm-hmm.
If she sounds, you can play musical chairs and different
Mm-hmm.
memory games with music.
Yeah.
Um, it,
Yeah.
she's it, again behaviors for communication. These are just questions to look at, and the
Mm-hmm.
therapists also are going to ask you these same questions and
Yeah.
kind of ask you like are you what did you notice? These are the questions that you're going to want to pick up and look at the antecedents that are causing this behavior, like
Yeah.
why. You're figuring out the why.
Yeah. That way, and it's not going to be easy.
No, no.
It's not
And
easy, but
days will
trying,
change.
but it helps to, what's the word? It kind of helps to, when you start looking for the why, it kind of changes your perspective as a parent.
It
When
does.
you constantly looking for the why and taking a second saying, okay, why did this happen? What was going on before that? I mean, I'm currently doing some data taking for Curtis's ABA therapist, his BCBA, for his behavioral plan. And we're starting to work on a new one to, to weed out those undesired uh, behaviors. And as you take the data, it helps, because you have to think of, okay, started a, and it's about the frequency, what kind of thing they're doing. And so I have a chart I fill out, and it makes me kind of think about, oh, okay, well, maybe it was this, and this. Okay, it could have been this, and it starts me thinking, okay, how can I change what I'm doing to help him?
You're problem solving.
Yes.
Hmm?
And when we can problem solve as parents, then we can help our kids problem solve. And it just goes better because ultimately, unfortunately, insurance doesn't want to have you have a therapist. They want you to just know it. So we'll talk about that later. Another question we had to think about. Oh, all right. Okay. So Kira says, okay, so this is Kira who asked this. She says we actually tried to give her a toy with buttons and snaps, and she hated it and was constantly frustrated at it. As far as we know, she loves her baby sister. She always wants to hold her and will wait till we turn around and pick her up and carry her. Oh, sweet. She really goes towards the toys with music and lights. Okay. She won't quite play with the baby, though. She will play in the same room with her, but turn her back and play with the toy. However, that is a step up because she won't play with toys near other kids. That's really good.
That is actually really good.
That is really good. Okay.
That's normal because those with autism, by the way, Kira. Sorry for
Kira or Kyra. We hope we're saying it right.
Yeah. That joint intention is taught with those with kids with autism. And joint intention is talking about like Jessica and I right now have joint attention. We are responding back to one another. We're actually joining our attention together. It's what a joint attention. And you could do it with games. And a lot of times it's taught. And if the other peer does not initiate it, those with autism won't initiate it at all.
Right.
So I wouldn't be so upset if you're upset or concerned about that because it will get taught eventually.
Just an idea that popped into my head about snaps and clicks. Try some fidgets.
Yeah. Just sitting there playing with the fidgets. Yeah.
Actually, I'll try to have this done for next week. Curtis has found some really good fidgets that he likes that has some, pops and clicks and some just different hand movements. And so hopefully we'll have that shot and we can roll that into for next week, or I might even just throw that into my video this week. We'll see how that goes. But those fidgets sometimes can give that snapping and that clicking noise that they really like. And it's more of a subtle versus, so
really hard
just kind of play around with it because there's just a whole slew of reasons, but there are some absolutely huge positive things going on there.
A lot of positive. I was really cool to read.
That is awesome. She's making some huge headway. That's amazing. And just kind of work with her. I think it's, and wouldn't it be a good idea maybe to sit and play with the baby and with her?
Yes.
At the same time?
At the same time. So you're teaching that joint attention and teaching that is not just the baby's toy. It's everybody's toy for the baby, and you play with the baby. And we kind of will go into that later on because we did mention it, when we were discussing it earlier today.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay, so our other question, so that, you're looking at the stimulation, so that was really good that you caught onto that stimulation. Are there some potential feelings of jealousy that she's not quite sure on how to express?
Right.
I was mentioning that this was the potential topic for the episode yesterday with my husband's parents. And they reminded me of, there's a 7-year gap between my husband and his sister. And there was they were talking about how that age gap sometimes can create those feelings of jealousy. But with autism, it's going to, if it's neurotypical kids, it's going to be, you're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to have them say something.
I do. Yeah.
But not with, and if there's feelings of jealousy or some other feelings that they can't get out, seek a counselor. Counselors are actually good. I have found that having a counselor for Curtis when I can, right now we're still in the process of insurance. It is November 2nd. Everybody, we have to deal with that. But anyway, he has actually had some really good progress made when he's been with a counselor, learning some coping strategies, and he's been able to talk to the counselor more, and that has been really, really helpful for him. So And usually most insurances will pay for counseling, uh, especially for autism and for other things. So that's always an option. And then our last question that we thought of, and that actually has been on my mind lately, especially since we talked about meltdowns, was are her abilities lower than that of her peers' age? Um, I've been really thinking about making some, what's the word, concessions, I guess, for Curtis's abilities, trying to understand what his true abilities are versus what I want them to be. And that's a difficult, yes, I would love him to respond and, do what I tell him to after the first or second time. Is he able to? No. We're back down to that. I know you'd been working on that. I know we got him almost up to 3, right?
Correct.
He's back down to about 5 to 7.
There it is.
Oh, Kira says, okay, thank you for your great advice. She is mostly nonverbal and has no way of telling us how she feels, so it's a huge guessing game.
It is a huge.
Yes, she was diagnosed with a mental age of 2, and she is 4.
So the toys that she's playing with, and that's what we're going to talk about. You're actually a step ahead of us.
Yes.
Those toys
that's actually our next thing. You're a step ahead of us. This is so awesome. Yes. Okay, so the next thing we were thinking about is, should the toys be age appropriate? And we've got 2 things: the mental versus the chronological.
Correct. So we can go ahead, since she commented. She's 2. She had the mental age of 2, but she's 4. So mental age is the developing age of the brain, and how the brain pretty much develops. And where your chronological age is your birth year every year. Right. So her daughter says that she's 4, but she's age 2. So if she's playing with baby toys or toys that are meant for the baby, she's actually playing with the appropriate toys for her level. I know in education, we always try to teach to their levels and bring them up. And that's where we go into gradual removal.
Right.
Because, right. So gradual removal meaning, okay, she likes to play with the toys because they're age appropriate. Okay, we're going to get you working on those skills, working with those developing skills, let you develop them, get comfortable with them, and then gradually move those toys away and start giving you more age appropriate toys. And she might always be a year behind in her toys, which is, it's okay. I mean, she's one of a kind. She's unique. And that's okay.
Yeah. Well, and if you're noticing, some fine motor skills, because those are the type of toys that you're going to be really developing your fine motor skills, your grasping, putting things together, stacking puzzles, that kind of thing. Right. If she's having some problems with that, that's something that will let you know that you might need to look into your sensory processing disorder, especially with like the sounds and the clicks. And you also probably need to look for the potential of an occupational therapist and a physical therapist. And sometimes those can be in the same office. But your occupational therapist will help you more with your, if I'm not right, it's the OT that helps more with those fine motor skills. Eventually.
OT's gross motor. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. There's a difference between fine motor and gross motor. And that's where the division, I've dealt more with the needing the issues with the fine motor because we've been in OT constantly. So the major skills, Curtis has, the walking, the PT, then the gross motor would be like able to walk or jump, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Whereas the fine motor would be the little things like right now, one of the things he's working on in OT is cursive writing, which the crazy thing is, but I think this is amazing. His cursive is way better and is so gorgeous compared to his print.
Because you don't have to pick up your pen. You
Yep.
can continue and you can continue thinking. You don't have to think
Mm-hmm.
about letter formation.
And we have an amazing OT right now. Just love her to death, and she's given us some great ideas. So, um, yeah, OT can be a great thing. Can be
Oh,
so
great thing.
helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And she
so,
can also give you some really good activities to help you with the
mhm,
gradual removal, going from the toys to age appropriate toys if you want to do chronological age appropriate. And
mhm,
she can ultimately move her away from toys because activities can do the same thing as toys.
yeah,
And so she can give you really good activities that you
mhm,
can take chalk instead and different, you know,
yeah,
all kind of different things. They're
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
They don't
Well,
get
and
enough
that's
credit.
and that another thing that people always tend to battle with is should, especially as they get older.
Mm,
So my son's 12. He has the mental age of about 10ish,
give or take
10 or 11.
11. Mm-hmm.
And boys are, whether they're autistic or not, usually
They're
tend to be younger.
they
They're
mature different.
naturally younger.
Yep.
Um, but there's still some things that you know he absolutely loves, since softness is a texture, something that he
Right.
really is calming to him.
Right.
The stuffed animals and stuff are a good thing for him. And you know we used to want to take we used to have a large Stitch with us all the time.
Right.
But as he got older, we have Stitch, and he could still have them, but we've gotten him to be smaller so that he can be with them and be in a bag. Whereas the large Stitch would take up the whole backpack or the whole fidget bag. So we've as he's gotten older, we've kind of just reduced the size. Or
Right.
there's certain things that he loves doing that are not really appropriate to do outside the home, but when we're home, have fun.
Have
But
fun.
outside the home, no, not so much. Um, Not anything inappropriate, just
Right. You're just keeping the separation of home and outside separate.
hmm
That's all you're doing, which
yeah,
is you're teaching them privacy.
hmm
Um, and teaching that privacy is okay.
yeah, for when you get older, and yeah. Anyway,
Yep. That's a
moving
whole
right along.
different
That's a whole different ballgame.
whole different ballgame.
So after we talked about a little bit about what to do with some of the issues that we come across as with autism parents, we thought of some tips and tricks just to use with kids overall.
Overall, it works in the school
Yes,
building too.
yes, at any grade,
Overall.
whether it's in the self-contained classroom or not.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, so now the first one, so this is the hiding of the toys. I'll have to kind of backtrack on this. So my mom tells me, and I don't remember this, if we didn't pick up our toys, she would just go around later with a box, put all the toys out in the box or container of some sort, and then hide it away. And after a while, we'd like totally forget that we had the toys. And then she'd bring them back out after a while, and it would be like Christmas all over again. So occasionally, that might be something you can do with your kids if they're not cleaning them up, and then you don't have to buy any toys all the time.
But you gotta make sure that box stays hidden though.
Yes, I tried that with my kids. I tried that with Curtis and Nikki, except Curtis found out what the box was.
Yeah, and then it doesn't work so well.
No, it did not work at all. We had a meltdown about stealing toys. So yeah, it was all about how his I'm looking over here again. There it is. Okay. It was all about how we had stolen his toys, and those toys were rightfully his, and it was like, buddy. So the other thing we have is become a toy whisperer.
Correct.
Okay, you want to describe that one?
So this one, you see teachers use a lot or parents use a lot. You just take, like, for example, let's say they are, right now I'm in a Toy Story kick. They're arguing over Woody, okay? And the two kids are arguing over Woody. So you're like, oh, let me see. You come running in. You're like, let me see Woody. Let me see Woody. He has something to tell me. He's got to tell me something. And you pull him up to him and you go, and then you say whatever your message to help them. So ultimately it's coming from Woody and it's not coming from you. So for example, like, oh, guys, Woody just told me that he doesn't want to play with you guys. He says we need to take a break until we know how to play nicely. And you just kind of like, oh, wait. Like, and it's a nice subtle way to say, hey, instead of no, just give it here. It's taking the authoritative figure, still keeping your authority,
right,
without making you the bad person. Toy Whisperer works amazing.
Yeah, I
to a
might
certain age, but
I might try it someday just to be funny, because then at least it
right.
would break up the fight in between my two,
Right.
and then they would stop. Hopefully,
so
and
it
be
use as a
laughing.
distraction, because sometimes just distracting and getting them out of the element that they're in can ultimately stop fighting as well with toys, or that battle between one toy.
Yes. And see, another thing we had was to, especially right now, as we're heading into that Christmas season. I know we got the catalogs already at home. We're finding more catalogs as it is. If you get a new toy, pass another one on.
Correct. Get one, pass one.
Yeah, get one, pass one. We do that with clothing as well. That's just an easy way to do, because you need the room. Plus, if it's a toy that you haven't played with in a long time, we have a place that we can donate them, and the donation goes towards a good cause. In our instance, it's a thrift store that benefits Teen Challenge, where my husband works as the director of communications. So, it's a you can find different places like that, Goodwill, what have you. Toys for Tots sometimes takes, I don't know if they'll probably be taking newer toys. I'm not sure. I mean, who knows what's going on this year. But just be open for looking for some of those places. The other place you can take them is sometimes there are places, this just popped into my mind, a place where a lot of foster kids would get removed and they would go into like a house of some sorts, in a ministry house that would have kids that were being pulled from a home. They won't have any toys.
Yep.
So
you
could
give it to a kid. Yep.
Donate them there. There's lots of places you can donate toys around the Christmas holidays. So be thinking of that. So the last couple that we have, we'll go through real quickly. Well, three. If you can't play nicely, go play with something else.
Yep, just put them up completely.
We kind of talked about natural distractions, not disasters, although that's what my kids' rooms looks like sometimes. And I'm sure there's plenty that can know about that one. But let them do some decluttering themselves. Within reason, of course. I am actually been really surprised. Curtis has actually been giving up some of the toys himself.
Yeah. And that's natural. And when we talk about natural decluttering, is the older they get and the more they're in school and around their peers, they recognize what is popular, what is not, and then themselves like, this is not for me anymore. So it's natural. We grow out of playing with Barbie dolls. We grow out of playing with Hot Wheels. Now you may go to 4-wheelers and dirt bikes as an older version.
Yeah.
But
and that's not to say that they have to, as
right.
I don't know about you, but I still have some of the things. A few.
We still have Legos. We still build with Legos now.
Legos are just cool. Legos are just awesome. But no, I still have some. Like we kept my dollhouse and
the memorabilia.
And so Nikki now has it, so she can play in it. And we're actually gonna fix up the dollhouse together.
There you
go. There's things that we keep. Like I still have some stuffed animals that my grandmother handmade for me.
I love
and
that.
She's since passed on, so I'll be able to share those with the kids, and it'll be a great memory.
love
So
that
there's
stuff.
memory things, there's things like that.
Yeah, that's where you can have a conversation with antiques versus
Mhm.
not, or family heirlooms, and talk about your family history. Like, we're not getting rid of this because it's not family history.
Mhm.
And just have that conversation with them, because
Yeah,
just appreciating what comes down from family is a big,
it
big
is.
thing.
It is. And of course, there's, you know, adult obsessions. I will
Those will
admit.
never go away. Uh, Even when you
I
get, they don't go away.
I know. I still have. I have
Don't
action
go away.
figures, but they're in the boxes because they're collector items.
I got my Jack. So,
There
and
you
I'm not
go.
talking about alcohol. I'm talking about Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, there you go. So
So
we all have our things, and
we
so
do.
just as
We do.
long as it doesn't overtake the entire house.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, I don't know. My husband's shrugging like, whatever. Anyway, so those are some ideas, some things to think about as your kids getting older, and some things that you can think about as you're looking for um, the behaviors. All of your behaviors they communicate something. So
They
just
do some things. Hmm.
so think about that and see if you can maybe figure it out. And Kara, we wish you all the best. We thank you for the question, and
Thank you.
hopefully soon you'll be able to get into PEX cards and some technology so
Yeah.
that she'll be able to speak with you, and that's going to be an amazing thing. I'm
Um,
in I'm in some Facebook groups, autism groups, and I've seen some things about how their nonverbal child all of a sudden says, "I love you,"
oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
it's just like, oh, or for me, yes, my son can talk a mile a minute, but like the other day we were walking down the street and he just reached up and grabbed my hand and
Oh,
we
it's
walked
the
hand in
now.
hand for
See,
a
now
while.
it's the nonverbal.
Hmm.
They're there. They let you know, and that's what I like about it. I don't like it when they like, oh, they're nonverbal. They can't communicate. Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. You just gotta have a good trained eye and really look for it, but they can.
Hmm.
They
So
can.
keep looking for those
Mm-hmm.
moments, and you'll find them. You'll find
And
them, and
treasure them. You'll find them. You will.
mhm. Yeah. So we hope that this has been helpful for you. Please like and subscribe, and if there's any other topics or questions you have for us, please email us at info@myspectrumlife, or you can contact us through our other social
At
media outlets. That's
Facebook and Instagram at My Spectrum Life, and you can also find us at Twitter at My Spectrum Life with the number 1.
and make sure you like and subscribe to the video and click the bell if you'd like to be notified when we have new videos up. We are going to be doing videos this week. Last week was kind of it really kind of didn't have any much to do.
Right.
Halloween is Halloween. But now this week we are going to have our videos, so make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can figure out when those videos come up.
Yes.
And as always, remember, with a whole lot of faith, love, and lots of fidget toys, we're gonna make it.
We will.
Thanks. Bye.